me!
Oh my goodness!
Was vigorously.
This is not.
And while maintaining eye contact. As always, Scipio had a plan to deal with the larger enemy force.
Hey yo!
And their steel.
Oh my goodness, Scipio! Oh my gosh! Oh, Scipio! Scipio! What is good, you guys? My name is ReboundLeader. Welcome back with another video. For today, guys, it looks like it is finally here. The second Punic War by OverSimplified. You guys know me, bro. This is like a tradition where we always react to these oversimplified, very easy to understand war type of stories going on. Bro, we watched the first two. It was absolutely hilarious. This dude right here is a G. This dude right here does not care, bro. He will kill anybody to get to his goal. And of course, we got these weirdos right here. Very smart people, but they've been slaughtered. They've been slashed. They've been bamboozled quite a few times, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while. But let's get right into this. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. We're gonna react to the entire thing on this. There won't be like a part 2 or anything. But yeah, let's get right to it.
Virgins broke their sacred oath and lost their virginity. That's why Hannibal's kicking our ass. What should we do with them? Appease the gods! Bury them alive!
What?
Who did they
True
even
story.
Point? It was those guys! Huh? What should we do with them? Beat them to death!
Wow.
Needless to say, the Romans were freaking out. Okay, now that that's out of our system, let's go find a real solution. The real solution, first of all, involved raising a new
This is crazy.
army. Remember, at Cannae, Hannibal had wiped out the biggest army Rome had ever fielded. Possibly 20% of Rome's military-aged men. Rome needed to replace those losses, and fast, before Hannibal arrived at their gates. But where would those replacements come from? Rome had a few ideas.
Like what?
Lower the age of conscription. You, put down those Digimons. You're a soldier now.
Bruh!
These slaves with
That is stupid. They're going to die even quicker.
the promise of freedom. And equip them with all these religious weapons and armor. Anything we've got.
That's crazy.
All right, men. You are Rome's last line of defense.
That's
Man
crazy.
the walls.
Those are kids. Nah, this is nuts, bro. This is nuts.
After the earth-shattering defeat at Cannae, the Romans expected Hannibal to arrive at their gates any day now. In Hannibal's camp, the mood was triumphant. We did it! We won! So when do we march on Rome? Today? I'm free in 10 minutes. Whoa, slow down. We're not going to Rome. We're staying right here. Are you an idiot, Hannibal? No, I'm smart. We don't need to march on Rome, because after what we did, the Romans are definitely going to surrender. Watch. Hey, Jim Bob. Yes, sir? Go to Rome and discuss peace terms. Yes, sir. Hey, I'm here to discuss peace terms. Piss off! They told me to piss off!
Yeah, these Romans are very,
They didn't surrender?
they're very stubborn.
And they were mean! Hannibal was learning that Rome had an unprecedented attitude towards surrender. Even when Hannibal offered to ransom thousands of prisoners back to Rome, a pretty common practice in ancient warfare, the Romans refused.
Of course they
let
did.
their own men be sold into slavery rather than paying a penny to the enemy.
That's
it was
crazy.
clear that in order to defeat Rome, you had to annihilate them. If any Roman man was still standing, you hadn't yet won.
They're very stubborn.
But still, Hannibal decided not to march on Rome, and it was a controversial decision. Even one of his own commanders famously told him, Hannibal, you know how to win a battle, but you do not know how to win a war.
Oh!
From Hannibal's perspective, perhaps
that
he
is
knew
dirty.
his army was designed to
That is
survive behind
dirty.
enemy lines, and sow chaos. It may not have been well equipped to undertake a risky siege of one of the most fortified cities on Earth. Plus, with many of the southern cities defecting to his side after Cannae, Hannibal likely thought things were going pretty well. As is. We'll stay the course. Okay, so the Romans didn't surrender after 3 major defeats. But surely they'll surrender after 4.
I don't know about that one, bro. That sounds like a trash plan to me.
After Cannae, the Romans well and truly learnt their lesson. Well, would you look at that? Remind me, who was it that said Hannibal was too dangerous to fight? You. And who said we shouldn't fight him directly? You. And who tried to fight him directly? Us. And what happened? We lost 20% of our military-aged men. That's right.
That's crazy.
So tell me, when Hannibal approaches, what do? We run away. I'm a genius. Clap for me. After Cannae, Fabius Maximus kind of became the unofficial leader of Rome.
Wow.
Even if others were elected consul, his influence was unparalleled, and Rome quickly reverted to the Fabian strategy of avoiding Hannibal.
Oh, they're gonna run?
Defeat him. So instead,
Wow.
they could at least contain him.
Ooh.
They raised an impressively large number of men,
All right.
partly by enlisting teenagers, slaves, and criminals. And
Wow.
rather than trying to fight Hannibal, they instead turned their attention towards those treacherous southern cities that had switched sides.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining the winning team, guys. Here's the deal. All you have to do is provide me some troops and defend your own city, since I'll be too busy to defend it for you. Now, I'm going to briefly turn around, look this way, and when I look back, you better not be being massacred by the Romans. Oh, for goodness sake! The Romans spread out their newly formed legions and began attacking the southern
goodness,
cities
these
here,
Romans!
there, everywhere. The southern cities expected to have Hannibal's protection, and Hannibal was inundated with requests for help. He was forced to run around southern Italy, trying to encourage defection while rescuing his own allies. But when he showed up, the Romans would often leave, only to come back the second he went away again.
That
And
is...
as these southern...
Bro, these Roman people are... I always said this, but these Roman people are annoying. They are annoying. They're smart, but they're so annoying.
found themselves being
I
punished
can't.
severely by the Romans.
Let's just
They
kill them
began to
off,
realize
run
that
away, and
joining
then kill them
Hannibal
again.
may not
I
have
mean,
been such a good idea.
you know what I
Hey,
mean.
you
My
think
bad.
you're so big? Attacking my allies? Why don't you come out and face me? Because you're scary!
The thick
Wow.
southern cities frequently switched sides depending on who appeared to be winning, and the whole situation became a nightmare for Hannibal to control, playing a constant game of Roman whack-a-mole to fend off
crazy.
the enemy armies. Having not long ago seemed near extinction, the Romans had managed to turn the situation around by placing Hannibal in a clever predicament. If he left southern Italy, the southern cities would likely capitulate to Rome, meaning he couldn't leave. And since the Romans wouldn't fight him, he couldn't inflict any more dangerous defeats.
What do you
For
do
now,
in this situation,
Hannibal
man?
had been muzzled. Southern Italy had been his prize for his impressive Italian campaign. But those clever Romans found a way to take his prize and turn it into his prison.
That's
With
crazy.
the Fabian strategy neutralizing Hannibal for now, the Romans were freed up to refocus their attention to other fronts.
Oh, this is nuts.
This whole time, while we've been discussing Hannibal and the
Yo.
Italian campaign of the Second Punic War, fighting had actually been occurring elsewhere. For example, in 216 BC, the Romans had sent an army north to punish the Celtic tribes that had joined Hannibal.
Oh.
However, as the Romans entered the Latana forest, little did they know those clever Celts had set up a trap. The Celts dropped trees on them, decimating
What?
the Romans, and they even took the commander's head to use
Wow.
as a religious sippy cup. So that
Wow.
went pretty bad.
GG's.
Oh, very bad.
20,000?
But thankfully, in other theaters, things were going a bit better. For example,
Yo.
let's look at Sicily.
This is nuts.
After Cannae, internal chaos in Syracuse caused this longtime Roman ally to switch sides. Because being a winner is more fun.
Yep,
The
facts.
Carthaginians also landed troops, hoping to retake their lost island, while Roman proconsul Claudius Marcellus moved in to besiege Syracuse. The siege was a brutal slug for the Romans, largely
Wow.
due to the presence of one famous scientist and mathematician, Archimedes. He lived in Syracuse at the time, and he invented a variety of clever contraptions to defend the city. There was a giant
Crazy.
claw that could grab and destroy Roman ships, and
What?
purportedly even a big mirror that could magically ignite them. The
What?
Carthaginian forces on the
This
island
is not even
attempted
fair.
to come to Syracuse's rescue, but
Hey,
luckily
yo.
for the Romans, they all got diarrhea and then died. Finally, in the city itself, the day of a big annual religious festival came, and the Syracusans said, "Well, fellas, we've been holding off the Romans for over a year now. I think we've earned ourselves a little party." Sir, we're still under a massive siege. Are you sure? They'll probably take advantage of it. Well, Carl, I'm taking advantage of the open bar. Sir, they've got battering rams. Well,
Bro!
I'm ramming these hors d'oeuvres into my mouth.
Bro!
Tear down our walls. Well, Carl, I'm tearing it up on the dance floor. Sir,
This dude.
they're literally at the gates. Well, Carl, I'm literally at the cheese platter. Marcellus took advantage of the drunken
idiot!
festivities, stormed
You
the city,
idiot!
and plundering ensued.
Oh
In the
my
chaos,
gosh.
Marcellus ordered Archimedes be captured alive. Some sources say Roman troops entered Archimedes' home, and they were like, "Hey man, are you the math guy? Go away, I'm drawing circles. Look, I just need to know if you're the nerd. Come on bro, get out of here, you're messing up my circles." Now is not a good time to draw circles. It's always a good time for circles. I love circles. Either stop drawing the circles or I kill you. I choose the circles.
Wow!
Despite not securing Archimedes, by
Wow.
210 BC, the Romans did secure Sicily and also put down a Carthage-supported rebellion on nearby Sardinia. 2 Roman successes, and there were more to come.
Oh, this is
After
not
Cannae,
good.
King
This is not
Philip
good.
V of Macedon saw an opportunity. He was concerned with recent Roman expansion into Illyria, and so, when he saw Hannibal annihilating the Romans in Italy, he said, "Oh my gosh, hey! Hey, Hannibal! Oh my gosh, you're so cool! Let's form an alliance and annihilate the Romans together!" Sure. Yes!
Hey, yo.
To secure Philip's help
Hey,
in
yo.
fighting Rome. But a Roman army was sent to the region, stirred up Philip's other Greek opponents, and essentially kept Philip bogged down in Greece for the entire duration of the war.
Oh
Another
my goodness.
kind of Roman success. But the main front
This is
Rome
not
was
good.
hoping to push Carthage back in was Spain. The riches of Spain made it one of Carthage's most valuable possessions, and the Romans were eager to weaken it. Remember way back at the start of the war, the consul Scipio was supposed to go to Spain, but ended up rushing back to Italy when he realized Hannibal was crossing the Alps.
Yeah.
He then faced Hannibal at Ticinus and had
I
to
remember.
be rescued by his son. Well, after he recovered from his wounds, he proceeded with the original plan and joined his brother in Spain. There, the 2 Scipio brothers fought a successful campaign against Hannibal's brother, Hasdrubal. Over the next few years, they
Some
won
Mario
a number
type
of
thing.
key victories, even taking Saguntum, the city that had kick-started this entire war.
Wow. I remember that. It started literally in that area. That is, bro, the Roman people are going off right now, bro. This is not looking good for Hannibal. Yeah, GG's. I don't know, bro. Like, we're only 12 minutes or like 13 minutes in. I'm just like, bro, Romans are gonna take over. Like,
Roman
pisses me off, but like, you know.
A trend appeared to be emerging. Whenever the Romans fought anyone other than Hannibal, they usually came out on top.
Yeah.
Perhaps these other fronts would be the key to Rome taking back control of this war. Perhaps it was time for Rome to return to their old ways of being the aggressive go-getters. And perhaps it would help if Rome had a Hannibal of their own.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. This is not good. Not him. Not him.
Scipio, the younger,
Not Scipio.
was the son of Publius Scipio, currently fighting in Spain. This made him a member of one of Rome's most prestigious families. Not much is known of his childhood, although there is one story of how he was getting hot and heavy with a young lady.
Hey, yo.
Only to have his dad barge in and drag him out wearing nothing but a cloak. This
Wow.
story was written by a
That's
Roman
embarrassing.
poet to make Scipio look bad, but by modern standards has ended up making him look pretty rad. My guess is if Rome had a high school football team, Scipio would be the quarterback. Scipio was only 18 when the Second Punic War broke out. He was at the Battle of Ticinus, where
18?
he famously rescued his father, and he was one of the survivors of the Battle of Cannae.
Yeah.
After which he threatened to cut down any man who dared abandon Rome. He was a natural leader and up to his ears in spunk, and therefore he rose through the Roman ranks shockingly fast. We need a new military tribune, but
That's
Hannibal
crazy.
has killed so many men, we're running out of options. Put me in, coach. Scipio, you're only 20. You can't be a tribune. Come on, coach. Put me in. Well, you do have a lot of spunk. All right, you're hired. We need to elect a new leader. Who do we have left?
Put me in, coach.
Scipio, you don't meet the minimum age requirement.
I got this, coach.
I got this. Well,
Oh,
okay
wow.
then. You're in. Ugh, my room's a mess. I gotta cook dinner. Oh, and would you look at that? My fly's down. Life sucks.
Hey, yo.
Put me in, coach.
Wow, you're so spunky.
When Scipio was 25, however,
Bro.
he received some bad news. His father and uncle in Spain had both been defeated in battle.
That's
and
crazy.
Shockingly, both of them were killed. The news must have been devastating for the young
Yep.
Scipio. But it was also devastating for Rome, as almost all of their Spanish gains were wiped away.
Oh,
Okay, listen up. We need someone to go and replace the Scipios in Spain. So, who's up for it? Come on, who's gonna go? Fabius, Spain seems unwinnable. There's no glory to be had there. Yeah, the glory is here, defending the homeland from Hannibal. Well, somebody has to go. I said, well, somebody has to go. Put me in, coach! Scipio
Yo.
was eager to be the
Yo,
one to go
Scipio
and
is
replace
a-
his father
yo,
and
he's
uncle
crazy.
in Spain.
The man's
However,
nuts.
There was concern amongst the older senators. You're only 26. You can't lead a military campaign. He's right. That's a good point.
How old do you have to
And
be
you're
to
71.
lead one?
You can't stand up without a little urine dribbling down your leg. That's a good point.
Yo, that's crazy.
Scipio didn't meet the typical requirements for the position, but as the only person willing to go, this young piece of hot Roman meat was unanimously elected
Hey, yo.
proconsul and sent to lead the Roman armies in Spain. He hoped to carry out a campaign as impressive as Hannibal's had been in Italy. In fact, Scipio rather admired the one-eyed general. Scipio, you've got a Hannibal poster in your room. Yes, but he's the enemy. I'll let you in on a secret, Billy. You know how we're gonna win this war? By marching straight at the enemy? No, that's the old way. We've gotta be less Roman and a little more Hannibal. Hey, by the way, don't just barge
Smart.
into my room. That's an infringement of my privacy. Privacy? Privacy, you say? Well, Scipio, if it's privacy you want, then you, my friend, need Nord VPN.
Bruh, not this
Touch me.
again.
Now, where were we? Oh, yeah. Hannibal contained a young piece of hot Roman meat sent
Yep.
to lead
Pause.
the Roman
Pause.
armies in Spain. Scipio was charismatic, extremely confident, bold, and probably most importantly of all, he thought differently from other Roman generals. So, Skippy, what's the plan? Don't call me that. We're Roman, so same thing as usual, right? We march straight at the enemy, right? Get this, Billy. No, we don't. Scipio was a real outside-the-box thinker. There were three main Carthaginian armies in Spain, two led by Hannibal's brothers, Hasdrubal and Mago, and another led by Hasdrubal Gisco. Most Roman generals might have looked at these armies and said, I just gotta, march straight at these guys and kick their ass and stuff. But not Scipio. At a time when many believed winning battles won wars, one of Scipio's greatest strengths was an ability to see the overall strategy behind his actions.
All
He knew
right.
that Spain was the closest thing Hannibal had to a base of support. With its mass resources and manpower, it's where Hannibal likely hoped to get supplies and reinforcements from. Spain's base of support was the city of New Carthage, the most fortified city on the peninsula, perfectly positioned to communicate with and receive supplies from Africa. And so, if Scipio managed to take New Carthage, he could take Spain. And if he took Spain, then maybe Hannibal would fall. To
Oh.
Scipio, Spain wasn't
Oh,
just
this
some
is
sideshow.
devious.
It was the main show.
This
and
is
it all
devious.
rested on New Carthage. But a surprise attack on Carthage's capital city in Spain? It was a ridiculous idea. Even if you pull off the 7-day forced march past the Carthaginian armies to New Carthage. Once you get there, you'd only have a couple weeks to take the city before the Carthaginians arrived to kick your ass.
Yep.
Sieges of cities that fortified usually took months, if not years. So, Scipio, how are you gonna pull this off? Well, first of all, to make sure the surprise plan stayed hidden, Scipio kept it a total secret, even from his own men. Where are we
Wow.
going, Skippy? I'm not telling you. Is it Disneyland? I'm not telling you. I think that means we're going to Disneyland. Secrecy kept the Carthaginians from preemptively reinforcing the city.
Weirdos, man.
New Carthage was left
Stay
under
focused.
garrisoned because the Carthaginians believed it to be kind of naturally impenetrable. It was surrounded on 3 sides by a lagoon and only accessible via a narrow isthmus. What's an isthmus, you ask? Maybe read a book. All right, Scipio, you made it to New Carthage. Now the other Carthaginian armies are only a 10 days march from coming and kicking your ass. Just what were you thinking? Well, Scipio had learned something crucial. Every afternoon, the tides made the lagoon around New Carthage briefly shallow enough to cross. So, he ordered a large diversionary attack on the main city gates, distracting the city's defenders. Then, a small infiltration force traversed the lagoon, climbed the unguarded northern walls, and entered the city. They ambushed the guards.
Oh, that is
the
crazy.
city gates to the rest of Scipio's army.
Oh, that
and
is
just
crazy.
like that, New Carthage had fallen.
That is
In
nuts.
a single day, Scipio had
A
taken
day?
Carthage's capital city in Spain.
What?
And he made it look easy.
That
With
was
it, he seized much of Carthage's war supplies, several silver mines near the city, and various powerful Iberian tribes even joined his side. And now he was in a great position to take on the other Carthaginian armies.
Oh, this is not even fair.
Wow,
This is not even fair,
You're
bro.
amazing. Don't call me that. How'd you know the lagoon would get shallow? It's almost like you speak to the gods. No. I told him. All the local farmers know about the yes, that's it. I speak to the gods. Scipio had no problem allowing his men to think he was divinely inspired. Roman writers also tell us another of Scipio's traits. He was apparently quite merciful in victory and often protected the inhabitants of captured cities. Spencer! What are you doing? Well, I was just about to murder this family. Hey, bad Spencer! No! Can I at least kill the dad? No!
Bruh.
What about the... No! Oh, you're mean! The Carthaginian generals in the region
Crazy.
must have been shocked at the loss of their capital city. There was now a Terminator in Spain, and he was coming.
Nuts.
In 208 BC,
This is
he made
scary.
a move on Hasdrubal, hoping to defeat him before the other Carthaginian armies could come and link up. When Hasdrubal heard Scipio was coming, he said, Hasdrubal did the sensible thing and climbed a big hill
This
for
dude,
safety.
this dude is
Get down
done.
here. I want to kill you.
Fat chance, Vin Diesel.
Well, he doesn't have to be rude. So what's the plan then, Scipio? This time, we march straight up and at him. Right? Right, Scipio? Billy? No. Scipio once again displayed a distinctly not approach to fighting, when instead of marching straight up and at him, Scipio feigned a frontal skirmish, only to pull off a surprise uphill
Here we go with the surprise
Not an easy
attacks.
thing to do, but Scipio had trained his army to pull off maneuvers that typical Roman armies couldn't.
Oh
After
my
the battle,
goodness.
The defeated Hasdrubal fled Spain, hoping to link up with his brother Hannibal in
Oh
Italy.
my
And Hannibal
goodness.
desperately needed the help. As Scipio was dominating in Spain,
This is
Hannibal's struggles
crazy.
in southern Italy continued. He was convinced that if he just received ample supplies and reinforcements, he could reverse his fortunes and get back to kicking Rome's ass. But for the remainder of the war, he would suffer a frustrating lack of support from the Carthaginian Senate.
Yep.
After Cannae, Hannibal had sent his brother Mago to Carthage, where he famously poured out golden rings taken from fallen Roman knights. He told the Senate that with reinforcements, Hannibal could finish the job. But a growing faction in the Senate, possibly jealous of Hannibal's rising influence, opposed sending any help. In the end, a large number of the reinforcements gathered for Hannibal now ended up being diverted to stop Scipio in Spain.
Wow.
Just
Wow.
as he had hoped,
is
Scipio's
crazy.
campaign in Spain was actively harming Hannibal in Italy. However, those reinforcements meant that when Scipio made a move on the remaining Carthaginian armies in Spain,
Oh,
they now
GG's.
likely outnumbered him.
Oh,
With the odds
GG's.
heavily stacked against him, it would take some serious skill to win this battle.
Yep.
This time we're gonna march straight at them, right? No, Billy!
Ooh.
The preceding battle of
Yo,
Ilipa
Billy ain't
is
learning,
often
bruh.
considered Scipio's masterpiece
hard-headed.
because it was positively oozing with deception and trickery. First, both sides spent several days forming up and facing off without actually fighting. On each day, Scipio placed his strongest Roman legions in the center with his weaker Iberian allies on the sides. Seeing this, the Carthaginians were like, "This guy's an idiot. We've seen his plan. His strongest troops are going to be in the center. So let's form all of our battle plans based on this information. I'm sure he won't change anything at the last minute." Then, when the day of battle came, Scipio woke up the Carthaginians with an early morning attack, causing them to rush out of camp without breakfast. When the Carthaginians lined up with their strongest troops in the center to meet Scipio's, they were stunned to find that Scipio had completely reversed his order.
Oh,
the
GG's.
weaker Carthaginian sides
Oh,
now Scipio's strongest.
bro, he's fooling y'all.
In an extremely impressive maneuver, the well-trained Roman wings even stretched out during
This
their
is not
approach,
fair, bro.
hitting the Carthaginians from the sides. The Carthaginian center could have turned to help, but Scipio had ordered his center to approach so slowly that Carthage's center could do nothing but just stand and wait. In this way, the outnumbered Scipio had cleverly controlled events so that the bulk of the strongest Carthaginian troops couldn't even fight during the battle. He had completely removed them from the equation.
This is torture.
The incredible Scipio had inflicted a monumental defeat on a much larger enemy force.
Oh
And
my
the Battle
goodness!
of Ilipa was the final nail in the coffin
Oh.
for Carthaginian Spain.
Say
Yet
goodbye.
more tribespeople continued to side with the Romans, and the remaining Carthaginians retreated to the coast and eventually fled the peninsula.
Wow.
And would you look at that? In just a few years, the incredible young Scipio had turned Spain completely red.
Wow.
The Carthaginians must have been stunned.
Yeah.
His Spanish campaign had almost been as impressive as Hannibal's campaign in Italy. In fact, see if any of this sounds familiar. In Spain, Scipio had used the environment of the battlefield to his advantage. He staged ambushes by concealed troops. He treated local tribespeople well, earning their friendship. He even once forced his enemy to come out and fight him without breakfast. Each and every one of these
Literally the
tactics
same
were
way.
possibly borrowed from a certain one-eyed general. In all the battles Scipio had fought against Hannibal, it seemed he may have been taking notes.
Hey,
Yeah.
Scipio! What? Stop stealing my tactics! I'm 700 miles away. I can't hear you. What did you say?
What?
What?
Better yet, Scipio's achievement in taking a well-fortified city, plus his understanding of the overall strategy, has led some historians to argue he wasn't just as good as Hannibal. Scipio may actually have been better.
Yeah.
This young man,
Seems like
who
it.
many in Rome had
I don't
doubted,
want to say it,
had
but
just
man.
shut those silly billies. Right, the flip up. Mere years ago, it looked like Rome had no chance of even surviving this war. But now, the momentum of war was shifting astonishingly fast. And for Hannibal in Italy, things continued to head south.
This dude's
Before
depressed.
Scipio had even gone to Spain,
This
the
dude's
Romans
on the
had placed
ground.
Capua, Hannibal's
What is
largest
my
city
life?
in Italy,
Yo.
under a dangerous siege. And in order to rescue it, Hannibal needed to take drastic action. Fast.
Come on, Hannibal.
Everything's falling apart.
Come on.
Fine, I'll do it.
Do what? Yeah, you've convinced me. I'll march on Rome. Hannibal, that conversation was 5 years ago. It's
Oh
too
my-
late. No
5
one's trying to
years
convince you to
ago.
march on Rome.
I said I'll do it. Quit nagging me.
That's crazy.
Hannibal finally marched on Rome, hoping it might draw the Romans away from Capua.
Say
The
goodbye.
Romans saw Hannibal approaching their city, and they freaked the hell out. Hannibal is said to have closely approached the city walls, inspecting the defenses, as the Romans inside quivered in their togas.
Wow.
However, Hannibal probably knew he had no chance of taking the city. The whole thing was a feint, and Hannibal soon left.
Wow.
The Romans famously coined the phrase, Hannibal is at the gates, to describe a moment of crisis or severe desperation. But for accuracy's sake, the phrase should probably be, Hannibal is at the gates. But don't worry, it's just a feint to draw the Romans away from Capua. And it didn't even work, because the Romans stayed at Capua, and the Capuans misunderstood and thought Hannibal had abandoned them. And so, they surrendered the city. But apparently that's not as catchy. Despite a few successes, including an ambush in 208 BC, where Hannibal managed to kill both consuls in one go, Hannibal was slowly but steadily losing his grip on southern Italy. Even Hasdrubal, who had fled Spain to join Hannibal, never reached his brother. He made his own dramatic crossing of the Alps, just as Hannibal had done. But unlike Hannibal, the second Hasdrubal arrived in Italy, he was immediately pulverized. The Romans then took his head and threw it over the walls into his brother's camp. Hannibal was becoming extremely isolated.
Oh, this is not good,
After
bro.
his impressive conquest,
that is disrespectful, bro. Yo, Hannibal is, say goodbye. I want him to come back strong, but that is disrespectful. Hey, here's your brother's head. Do something about it. Like, come on, bro. Nah, bro. Say goodbye, Hannibal. Say goodbye. 5 years ago, bro, you should have done it in the first year. The heck you take you 5 years to... Nah, you're crazy. Say goodbye, bro.
Spain. Scipio returned to Rome a hero. And when the election came for next year's consuls, despite not meeting the typical requirements, Scipio won in a landslide.
Wow.
But the question now was, what would he do next? All right, what's your plan then, Scipio? You're gonna go fight Hannibal now, right? Get this, Fabius. No. Scipio's plan remained the
Too
same
many
as
Billies
before.
still.
Don't attack the monster directly. Attack his base of support, which now happened to be Carthage itself.
Okay.
That's right, Scipio would invade Africa. However, Scipio understood that any invasion of Africa would stand a much better chance if he could secure an alliance with one of the African tribes.
True.
Throughout the war, Carthage's far superior Numidian cavalry, which came from this part of Africa, had played a critical role in winning battles. Numidia was divided between two rival kings. In the east, the king Syphax had sympathized with Rome for much of the war, and so at some point, Scipio visited Syphax to ratify a treaty. It just so happened, however, that the Carthaginian general Hasdrubal Gisco, whom Scipio had fought in Spain, also arrived at the exact same time. And
What?
so Syphax invited both Scipio and Gisco for a meal.
That's
the
crazy.
two men fought for Syphax's alliance, and by Roman accounts, Scipio was positively charming. Come on, Syphax, stick with us Romans. We'll build a naked statue of you. Very enticing. If you join our side, Syphax, we'll give you a 2% discount on figs. You like figs, don't you? Not really. Hey, Syphax, check this out.
Bro, this is just...
Hey,
This is
Syphax,
just crazy.
check this out.
Wow.
Did he
What
just defecate? I believe he did.
What an epic fail.
You clearly are the most charming man in the Mediterranean. My alliance is... Syphax, I'll let you marry my extremely hot daughter. Yours! Humana, humana. Unable to compete
Wow.
with Syphax's libido, Scipio instead made contact with Syphax's rival, the other Numidian king, Massinissa,
That's
who was
nuts.
a longtime ally of Carthage. Scipio told Massinissa, if you join the Romans, I'll help you defeat Syphax.
Boy, look at this dude's face. This dude looked like you...
And become the ultimate Numidian king. And so Massinissa was now
Crazy.
on Team Rome. Good job, Skippy. With a Numidian alliance solidified, Scipio prepared for his invasion of Africa.
All
He
right.
raised a volunteer force that included many of the disgraced survivors from Cannae, and he set sail. Well, Terry, any news from Italy? Has Hannibal won the war yet?
Oh. Oh, heck no.
Here's Skippy!
The Roman landing sent a clear message to the Carthaginians. You don't invade us. No, no. We invade you. For the first time in the war,
Wow.
the Carthaginian homeland was under threat, and the Carthaginians needed to defeat Scipio at all costs.
Yeah.
They gathered a huge army led by Hasdrubal Gisco with allied Numidians led by Syphax, and they ordered them to get Scipio the hell off their continent. Sources say at this point, Scipio was severely outnumbered.
Really?
Scipio? That army's huge.
And how did he
no way
win
we
this
can beat
one?
off all the
There's no way this dude won this one, bro. Who is this
These
man?
men. How
Seriously.
are we gonna beat off all these men vigorously?
This is not.
And while maintaining eye contact.
As always, Scipio had a plan to deal with the larger enemy force.
Hey, yo!
It just so happened that Syphax was offering to try and broker peace between the Romans and the Carthaginians.
This man's spinning
And
everything.
Scipio smelled an opportunity. He sent a Roman envoy to Syphax's camp. And when they got there, Syphax was like, "Hey guys, welcome to the enemy camp. Just before we begin negotiations, a small safety demonstration. As you can see, our huts are made of grass and reeds. Very flammable. If there was even a single spark, this whole place would become a raging inferno. And all my men would burn alive." Very interesting. The Roman troops then reported back to Scipio about the Numidian camp,
You
its
idiot!
construction, and most importantly, its
You dummy!
flammability. Then, the following night, as the sun was setting over the beautiful African plains, and the Carthaginians got all comfy in their beds, they began to gently dream of Carthaginian figs and child sacrifice.
Heck no, I remember that.
Good night, Syphax
pagan.
and Gisco. Good evening, Scipio. In the night, shadowy Roman figures
Yes,
approached
sir.
the Numidian camp. As the Numidians lay in their beds,
Man.
Scipio executed his plan.
I can't do nothing but be on his side right now.
The camp
Wow!
erupted into flames.
Wow!
The flammable wooden huts. The fires spread terrifyingly fast.
Man.
Men were burned in their beds.
Oh,
Those
my
who
goodness.
awoke in a panic, believing the fire to have been some kind of terrible accident, rushed to the exits without their weapons and armor. Those who saw the fire from the Carthaginian camp also rushed out unarmed. And when they got there he was. Scipio, the Romans, and their steel.
Oh my goodness, Scipio. Oh my gosh! Oh, Scipio!
The terrified
Scipio!
Carthaginians were-
Scipio! Yeah! Yo, I'm on his side now. Yep. I'm on. Yo, I can't, bro. I want to be on Hannibal's side, but this dude sucks right now, bro. He was doing so good the past 2 videos. He was doing well. And now look, he sucks. I have to be on his side, bro. I have to be on Scipio's side. I'm sorry. Until otherwise, you feel me?
Massacred, and with heavy casualties, Hasdrubal and Syphax fled the scene of the disaster.
How did they survive?
Scipio followed this incredible success with another victory against the pair at the Battle of the Great Plains.
Wow.
After that, Massinissa chased his rival Syphax into his kingdom, where Syphax was captured.
Wow.
Massinissa was now the ultimate Numidian king. He
That's
entered
crazy.
Syphax's capital city. He seized Syphax's palace. He even married Syphax's wife.
Wow.
Scipio got mad at him for marrying a Carthaginian girl. He then poisoned his wife.
What?
Boys will be boys. Having defeated the
Oh,
Carthaginian
this
armies
is
in
evil.
Africa, almost nothing
This is
now stood
evil.
between Scipio and Carthage. And the Carthaginians were freaking out. What do we do? What do we do? There's only one thing left to do. Recall him.
Huh? Who?
Well, Hannibal, you've been here in Italy for 16 years. This is
16?
practically your home. You're basically Italian. Yes,
16?
Gerald. And I've had such a lovely time. I ate spaghetti, did this with my hands. I've committed my whole life to this campaign. And once Rome has fallen, it'll all have been
Yeah,
worth
sure. Rome is
Hannibal,
falling.
you have to return to Carthage. Your Italian campaign has been for nothing. Your whole life has been a waste.
Imagine being Hannibal in this moment. You
Man.
left Carthage when you were 9. You probably barely even recognize your own homeland. The
Wow.
kingdom he had built in Spain with his father, gone. And now his Italian campaign,
Wow.
his vengeance. Was it really all for nothing?
Yeah.
But that was that. Carthage was under threat,
This
and
is-
Hannibal
this is
had
depressing.
to protect his home city.
This is
As
depressing.
he left Italy, in Rome, there was celebration, but also some trepidation. Now, Scipio would have to face Hannibal in Africa, where Hannibal would have home advantage. While Hannibal was on his way, the Carthaginians stole
it really
for
home
time
advantage,
and
though?
approached Scipio for
Rome has
peace
been
talks.
taken.
Hey, look, we never meant to start an all-out 2-decade-long war, but you did. No, that was Hannibal. He's to blame for all of this. Well, all right then. Sign this peace treaty. Okay.
Don't do it. Read the fine print, bro.
He's here. Yes. Oh, look who's here, you bald prick.
You're so dead now, Skippy. Don't
Call me that!
After Carthage proposed
Wow.
peace, only to then go back on it,
Yo,
the merciful Scipio
this dude is
was
angry.
enraged. He began refusing to accept town
Skippy.
surrender, and instead began burning everything to the ground.
What?
Selling everyone into slavery.
Oh, so the very charming Skippy had turned psychotic. Love of God! For the love of God!
Oh, stop him! Guys, he's obviously trying to lure me out there to fight on those flat plains, where his Numidian cavalry will give him the advantage. It's a trick. Well, it's working. Go and fight him. It's obviously a trap, and we're falling for it. Go and fight him. Hannibal set out to meet Scipio in the western plains. And here came Scipio's final test. Finally, the teacher would face the student.
Oh my
the
gosh,
two greatest
this is
generals
crazy.
of all time.
This
in
is
one
crazy.
last decisive battle.
Come
Would
on.
Hannibal's genius still shine through? Or would Scipio prove that he had surpassed the master? Before battle, the two great generals rode out from their camps and
Yep.
met in person for the first time. Hannibal, I'm a huge fan. I thought you'd have more hair, and I thought you'd have more eyes. Touché. They then had a conversation, which I'll paraphrase. Hannibal said, "At the start of this war, I had great fortune in Italy. But look at me now, a sad old man who, like other sad old men, failed to conquer Rome. Your fortune can change rapidly, Scipio. You should consider negotiating a peace rather than risking it all in one last fight against me." Very
Ooh.
eloquently put.
Ooh.
Scipio then replied,
Q! Negotiate? Negotiate what? I took Spain. I'm about to burn your pathetic city to the ground.
Wow.
What could you offer me in negotiations? I already have it all.
Wow. Wow.
Seriously though, Hannibal, I am such a big fan. And so, it was settled.
Wow.
The two great generals would
Yo.
face off one last time in the epic Battle of Zama.
Zama.
Scipio gave his men,
Let's go.
consisting of many survivors from Cannae,
Let's go.
a
Oh, please. How is it almost done? Okay.
pre-battle speech.
We gotta
telling
see the
them
war,
not
though.
only would they gain redemption, but they could become masters of the world. Hannibal told his men probably nothing, because most of them didn't even speak the same language.
Wow.
As the two
That's
armies
crazy.
lined up for battle, something interesting became clear. Hannibal had more infantry and hoped to use them to brute strength the Romans. But
All right.
Scipio had the nimble Numidian cavalry and
Yeah.
hoped to pull off an envelopment. It was a complete role reversal of Cannae. As the battle began, Hannibal made his first move.
All
He
right.
sent his 80 war elephants to smash
We're
through
playing
and
chess.
weaken the Roman infantry. Scipio had the perfect response. He had altered his
This is the war.
formation to create passages.
This is
between
the
the
final
Roman
war,
animals.
bruh.
His light troops stepped aside at the right moment, revealing the gaps ahead of the charging elephants. Elephants, if given the choice between a suicide charge into spears or a nice clean escape, will probably choose the escape. And that's what happened. Some elephants were so frightened from the noise that they even turned and smashed back into the Carthaginian cavalry, which the Roman cavalry then engaged.
What?
Your move, Hannibal.
Oh
Hannibal wasn't an idiot. He knew that he was fighting superior Numidian cavalry on open plains. So when his weaker cavalry ended up being routed from the battlefield, he probably wasn't surprised and hoped the Roman cavalry would be lured as far from the battlefield as possible because his infantry needed time to do a clever little job. Hannibal had the numerical advantage, and he had positioned his army in 3 lines. The weaker troops were at the front, while his best men, the army that had been with him in Italy, were in the rear. As the Romans smashed into the weaker front lines, they managed to cut through them, but suffered losses and exhaustion in doing so. The same with Hannibal's second line, so that by the time the Romans reached Hannibal's superior third line, the two sides may have now been about equal in number.
Oh.
But the exhausted Romans
Yep.
had just fought an entire
Yes, Hannibal. Slash them, bro. Kill every single one of them. Kill these
while the
Romans.
remaining Carthaginians
Scipio,
were
you're
fresh
done.
and ready to go. Hannibal was still a genius. And this is where the
Hannibal!
final race
Come
began.
on!
Could Hannibal's stronger infantry
Come on!
finish off the Romans before the Roman cavalry returned from their pursuit? Who would be quicker, the Carthaginian infantry or the Roman cavalry?
Oh my goodness, this
answer.
is crazy.
The cavalry. They had called off their pursuit just in time to turn around and
No!
hit Hannibal from the rear. And that was the deciding move. As the sandwiched Carthaginians were hacked to pieces, Hannibal knew he had lost, and he escaped the battlefield.
Wow.
It was a battle that some historians say was well fought on both sides. Both showed their genius, but fortune fell in the favor of Scipio.
Wow.
With just a few thousand Roman casualties compared to 40,000 Carthaginians, Scipio had won.
That's crazy, man.
Hannibal advised the Carthaginian
Bye-bye.
Senate that
Say
it was
goodbye.
time to surrender. 17 years of war, finally over. The terms Rome placed on Carthage were harsh. They lost territory and were prohibited from starting any more wars with anyone without Rome's explicit permission. Carthage basically became a weak Roman client state. And what of these two military geniuses? Well, Scipio returned to Rome triumphant. For his victory in Africa, he was given the title Scipio Africanus. He
Wow.
had delivered Rome from an
Africanus.
existential threat. And so, from here on out, he was primed to dominate Roman politics. He was even offered to become consul for life, but he humbly refused. Politics being what it is, however, jealousy eventually grew. Scipio
course.
and his family ended up battling accusations of corruption. And Scipio, possibly becoming tired of Roman politics, retired to a nice country house by the coast. Hannibal also took a leading role in Carthaginian politics after the war. But again, due to jealousy, factionalism, and a possibility of arrest by the Romans, he eventually entered exile. He spent the remainder of his years out east, even advising enemies of Rome. Rome's hatred of Hannibal endured, and they never stopped hoping to someday capture the monster. One story is told of how when a much older Hannibal was chilling in the city of Ephesus, a Roman delegation was sent to the city, and in that delegation was Scipio Africanus.
What?
The two men met for the second time, and they seemed to have gotten along quite well. Scipio asked Hannibal who he thought the three greatest generals of all time were. Hannibal placed Alexander the Great in number 1, Pyrrhus of Epirus in number 2, and in third place, himself. Scipio then asked, "And what if you had defeated me at Zama?" "Well, Scipio, then I would have been the greatest general of all time. Please, call me Skippy." Eventually,
that's
around
touching.
183
That's touching.
BC, Hannibal, now in his 60s, came under threat of Roman capture. After a long life, he chose to take some poison.
Wow.
According to Livy, his last words: "Let us now relieve the Romans of the anxiety they have so long experienced, since they think it tries their patience too much to wait for an old man's death." Wow, Hannibal.
Wow.
What a dignified end.
Wow, Hannibal. Ew.
Gross.
Oh
And
my-
there you have it.
Oh my gosh.
The Second Punic War. Finally done. It took 17 years to end the war. And on a personal note,
It felt like it took you 17 years to make the entire show.
making these videos
Oh,
has
no, it's
also
fine.
taken 17 years off my life. Carthage began to recover from the war, shockingly fast, however. And anxieties over Carthage would remain in Rome. In particular, one senator would begin calling for one last crusade against Carthage.
What?
To end the threat once and for all.
Wow.
He famously began to end all of his speeches with one singular phrase.
What?
One of the most famous phrases in Roman history.
Oh, nah, don't tell me this is... Oh my gosh! Coming eventually. Oh, it's not over? They want to get rid of these Carthage people for good. They want no more Carthage foolery. That's crazy, bro. That is crazy. Wow, the third Punic War. Oh my goodness. This is never gonna end. Even these old, even Hannibal and Scipio at their old age still got along in some way because they realized this war is stupid. This war's dumb. Oh my goodness, man, that's crazy. This was fire. This was absolutely fire. God bless you guys. Take care. Let me know which side would you be on. Who do you think is more fun to be with, Hannibal or Scipio? Let me know in the comment section down below. I might even put I don't know, I might put like a vote or something on the community part. So y'all can go check that out. I'll catch y'all later. Take care. God bless. Peace.
You win. Perfect.